Yeah, it was finished well, I'll say this, but the music part of the album was completed. When the pandemic hit, we kind of put the brakes on all of it, and so we weren't sure if we were going to go through with releasing a record. We thought, well, how are we going to release a record if we can't tour it? And luckily for us, panic did not ensue. And we conversed with a lot of with our team. Really thought about, because usually when you release a record, you go out on tour. I think we all need to play music, even if it's just, getting in a rehearsal space and trying. This is about making the best of what we've got. And one of the things that is amazing throughout all of this is that we've got to explore other creative sides to what we do. We've never had this luxury of time where we're able to sit still. In the 25 plus years that I've been a touring musician, this is the most time I've ever spent in one spot in my life. We have been off the road as a band since mid-November of last year. Luckily, I'm a positive person. I'm a very grateful person. And there's always an opportunity. I am so glad that you are spotlighting that, because you are absolutely on point. We're very accessible to the fans. I don't really care for all the elusiveness. I'm not like that. I'm just a person that gets to do what I love to do, because I've spent a lot of my life doing it. And I don't do it for the end result. I do it because I can't help it. And I do it because I love people. I love being around people. I love that I have something that I can do that conjures up something in people. And I don't take that lightly. And Hillary, who mentioned, she's been a big part of helping us to bring back the band from the hiatus. She takes these shows, and she's been such a fan, and she's, when the band went away back in 2005, yeah, I think it was 2005, that was before iPhones, before Instagram, before Twitter, before any of that, right? And so when we got the band back together again in 2012, all of a sudden we had this brand new medium that none of us really knew how to do anything about it. But Hillary has been one of those that has helped us to show the people out there in the internet land that we're back again, that we're doing this, that dynamic band that has this artistry and this presentation that may be a bit old school and whatnot. You can't deny that it is unique. I don't think that there's anything quite like what we do. The music that we make together, we have such a vast demographic, but I think it all comes down to one word, and I think that word is spirit. That's a great question. Well, first above all, I think we all have to be safe no matter what. When we filmed a bunch of that content over the last couple of months, both times that we got at it, we made sure that everybody was tested, everybody was quarantined for 2 weeks. The only people that were allowed into the rehearsal hall that we made into a studio, were the people that were working. So I will tell you what was different, what was challenging was, we're so used to feeding off of the energy of the fan. Well, before all this happened, we were supposed to be back in the UK, I want to say sometime around June. Back in November, when we took the time off, we were going to take some time off, only because it'd been a while since any of us had really slowed down in the last 8 years. We've released, with this record coming out on Friday, it'll be 7 records in 8 years. I spent about a good part of 7 years touring the world with him, and that was an amazing experience as well, as you can imagine. Dwight is such an icon in country music, and to be able to play that music with him, and it was always exciting. It was a great experience, and we're still quite close. Call him every now and then. See, run into him out here in Nashville. Sometimes he comes in for the CMAs, but it was a great experience. I learned so much from that. Leanne Womack with George Strait. Like you said, Miranda Leno, she's a real good, close friend of ours. My wife is the most nominated, most awarded director in the CMAs. He's done just about every Miranda Lambert video. She's the writer and director. She's had a career that spans over 20 years here in Nashville. From Keith Urban to to like all the icons. She's worked with Paul McCartney, with Steven Tyler, ready to do her first feature film. And so, our worlds are very much intertwined. He directed our brand new day video. I'll tell you what's crazy about the Dwight Yoakam, that I got a chance to make a couple of records with him. The one I made that I had the most fun of was the tribute record that he did to Buck Owens. It's called Dwight Sings Buck, and the reason it was so important for me is that my father's born and raised in Bakersfield, California. That was where Buck put down roots, and that's during the early '60s. That's where Buck was always, and Merle Haggard, by the way, they were having all their success at that time. That's the time when my father was growing up, and that was very influential to him. So he was the one that turned me on to Dwight Yoakam. To be able to bring my dad, we're working on a tribute to Buck Owens, the king of Bakersfield, Dwight's the artist, and it was one of the highlights of my life. My dad has passed a couple of years ago, but I was so happy and proud to have that moment, because it was almost like my dad, even the whole time he was there in the studio, we're working on the record, my dad has this like look of disbelief. But I've had wonderful moments like that. My time with Dwight was a lot of fun, and there are times when we started getting the Mavericks back together, I was still doing the Dwight, because I was trying to see if I could do both, but I loved them both, and to be able to be a part of both of those musical acts, not a lot of people get the chance to do. I would think back to maybe somebody like Ronnie Wood, right? He's had a chance, Steve Winwood, guys that are not specifically known for one thing. And I've been fortunate to be able to have a little bit of that for myself some way, people ask me, I've played on different records and whatnot. My buddy, the lead guitar player of the Foo Fighters, he's the lead guitar player of the Foo Fighters. He asked me to come out to LA and help him with his records a couple of years ago. So I did that, and he's a great friend of mine, good person. But quite honestly, lately, the Mavericks, it's so involved. We are, even through this pandemic, we are working every day on something. Meeting together to talk about the business part of the business.